today's edition of the Thrivetime Show, we are using the latest audio technology to protect the identity of the Thrivetime Show host and investigative journalist, Clay Clark.
So you guys are saying I can go deep into OXI and freely investigate this company because my voice is going to be modulated so people don't know who I am?
Without wearing a mask, he boarded a plane and traveled to Denver, Colorado, thus putting his life at risk to break down for you the inside scoop as to what happens at an OXI franchise discovery day.
I've been on the ground now for several days, and it has occurred to me that Matt Klein does not use shampoo. Oh, and get this, they do not serve you bacon in the morning.
If you're thinking about buying an OXI franchise, on today's show, we reveal the secrets that everyone knows.
It's disturbing, but high altitude, it turns out, does not cure my rash. I thought going to Denver would cure my rash. It's chafing and pussing and burning so much, make it stop.
Get ready to enter the Thrivetime Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm a dive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you.
Yes, 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 and yes, Thrive Nation is a very special occasion because it is always profound when we are above the ground. Matt Klein, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I am excited to have you on the show, and I'm excited to report. I'm excited to report that one of the members of our team, Luke Erickson, made a trip up to beautiful Denver, Colorado to visit you guys for a discovery day. So one of our employees up here visited you guys in Denver, and he came back and had great things to say. He said the discovery day process went well, and I would love to, if we can on today's show, if you could explain to our listeners, what is a discovery day?
Yeah. So Discovery Day comes at the end of the validation process in terms of document sharing, many conversations with myself, going through the maps to make sure the territory that is desired by that potential person is open. So this happens after we've basically gone through the nuts and bolts of the business. We've gotten to a point where funding is already in place, or we know that it's going to be there. So at that point, what they're doing is they're coming out to Denver for a few days, and they're really trying to make sure that not only everything we discussed in the previous calls is what it is. There's no red flags. They're going to be meeting our team, each member. So they're going to be meeting the cleaning system team. They're going to be meeting our vendor relations team. They're going to be meeting Jonathan, our founder, and Chris, our vice president, our marketing teams. They're actually going to sit into the scheduling center. So they're going to get to see and feel the entire culture of OxyFresh, see how it all works, see how the teams communicate with each other, and more importantly, see how those teams are going to be able to support them when they become a franchise. And then after they get done with the discovery process, then they make their decision if they want to move forward. And we can actually go through each little step of that if you'd like to.
Yeah, I would like
that's
to.
The real end of the road type of validation there.
I'd like to go through this, and I will say Luke came back from Denver and said he had just a great time. And so I thought if we could kind of walk us through the timeline of what it's like going through the Discovery Day process. Maybe from the time the person lands in Denver, just kind of walk us through, if you can, during these next 15 minutes, what that Discovery Day process looks like.
Yeah, so the first thing we want to do is I'm lucky enough to work for a company where Jonathan gives me the ability and my team to really kind of put our money where our mouth is. So when we find someone that's qualified, we feel is going to be a good fit for the team, they allow me to actually foot the bill for flight and hotel to get them out there. So when they come out here, they're just concentrating on learning, not the logistics of anything, because I'm setting all up for them in the front end of that. But the very first thing we're going to do Monday morning is we're going to have a nice breakfast with the team. You're going to introduce everyone, know what their job roles are, how they're going to be able to support that individual franchise when they decide to become a franchise. So that's just the meet and greet. Takes about an hour, hour and a half. And then we jump right into it. The first section that they're going to be doing is going to be with Kelly Harbaugh. She's the director of our scheduling center. So she's got anywhere between 25 to 35 individual employees that are working in that scheduling center underneath her. And she's going to be showing them not only how that scheduling center operates, how we actually track the success of those individual call center reps, their booking rates, their call times, all the things that make that scheduling center really work in a fluid motion. She's also going to go into the technology platform, right? Our scheduling software, its capabilities, how the actual franchisee can manage their schedule proactively so that our scheduling center can actually book jobs off of how they want it done, right? It's also going to show them all the single sign-on platforms that we have in there. So that piece of it takes about 2 hours or so, okay? It's going to be a very deep dive into the software. Now, it's important to note we aren't training people to use the software at that point. We're just showing them what it's capable of. Okay.
Would you say
so they'll do that? They'll take a little bit of. Yep.
Would you say there's a little bit of a technology hurdle when Luke and his wife traveled to Denver? Is there a lot of technology that they have to learn? Is it pretty user friendly? I mean, how? 'Cause I think a lot of people are interested right now in buying an OXI Fresh. They've done their research. They know there's over 400 locations. They're going, hey man, for under 50. How much does it cost to buy a franchise right now? What's the cost?
It's $39,900 to actually purchase the franchise.
Yeah.
That comes with equipment, product, training, and territory. But best practice is once you've done that, you want to have an operating budget of about $20,000 to $25,000. So around $60,000. $65,000 is a really good number to think about. You can get away with less, but that $60,000 is a really good number for us.
So I think a lot of our listeners, are smart people. They know, okay, listen, for under $65,000, let's say for under $70,000, they have the opportunity to purchase a vehicle, a business vehicle that gives them the opportunity to create both time and financial freedom. I think they know that, but I think there's a little bit of hesitation when they think of, man, I've never cleaned carpets before. Man, I've never used that software before. Man, it just seems overwhelming. Is there quite a learning curve there as relates to the technology, or is it pretty easy to learn?
It's pretty easy to learn. So what we want to do, we just didn't want to build really high-end technology. We wanted to build user-friendly technology. Because if we built this technology, for instance, just on getting reports, if we built reporting technology on just your sales, but you couldn't actually use it because it was too technologically hard, then it's a waste of time. So we're always developing this. The one major advantage we have is that we have our own IT staff within OXI Fresh. We're not reliant on any other companies out there to do it for us. So we can really make changes on the fly that we think are going to be important. But just what you said there is so important. Being able to actually use the software that we've created to help you grow. If you can't use it, then it doesn't mean anything. So yes, we have made it very user-friendly. But we've also put a layer of support within our franchise, which is a coaching program, which is a dedicated individual to that franchisee to where they're going to be walking through that initial stages of onboarding, initial stages, probably the first 5 to 6 months of just walking that person hand by hand, whether it's technology gaps that need to be trained, whether it's cleaning system gaps that need to be approved, whether it's going to be just vendor relationships and getting them where they need to be. So there's no level of this where we're not actually walking you through the process from the beginning to where you're actually doing jobs on your own and even down the road.
So I want to make sure I'm getting this. Step one, if you're thinking about buying a franchise, they're going to schedule a call with you. They're going to schedule an initial call with you, maybe several calls. They're going to go over the franchise disclosure document, ask a lot of questions. But again, if it's a win-win, or we think it's a win-win, if we think it's a win-win, then we fly out to Denver. The potential franchisee flies out to Denver, and you guys pick up the tab. Am I getting that correct?
We do, yeah.
And then you, the first day they get there, you do a meet and greet with the entire staff. They get a chance to meet the core teammates. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
At what time does that meet and greet start?
9 o'clock in the morning.
9 in the morning. And then after that, we learn the technology. Am I following you?
Technology and scheduling center.
Learn that's the scheduling center. The word scheduling, the word center, scheduling center. That seems like more technology. Is that hard to learn?
It's not, because actually you're not learning anything with that. You're actually seeing how the National Scheduling Center interacts with the software to actually put jobs into your schedule where you're actually servicing locally. So we're just bridging the gap there to show you how it all works and how everything plays along with each other. You're actually going to sit with a scheduling center rep so you can actually take live calls from customers and see how they answer the phone, what their call script is, the questions and answers they're going to get, how they actually quote a job for that unique franchise and their pricing structure, and then how they actually put that job into the schedule so that whoever got that job as a franchisee, they know that like next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, they got to be at this person's home. Here's the address. Here's the phone number. Here's where the job came from. It's got all the details. So it really kind of wraps everything in terms of how that scheduling center works within that software itself.
Now, Matt, my son
So
is here.
not difficult.
My son's here in the studio right now. He's standing in for Dr. Z. Aubrey, why don't you say hello to Mr. Matt Klein?
Hi.
Hey, Aubrey, how we doing today?
Good.
Here's the deal. Aubrey has a lot of
Your dad out of
questions.
trouble?
Well, here's the deal. He has a lot of questions that could get me into trouble. I'm reading off his question list here. Now, Aubrey, this might not be your question list. This could be something that Andrew's fabricated.
Could be
I'm
my
not sure.
question list.
Yes, but Aubrey says, that's great that we fly to Denver, we do the meet and greet, we learn about the technology and the scheduling center, but when can I have bacon? Now, do you take them to the breakfast place nearby there, Matt? 'Cause at the bottom of the Wells Fargo building, I believe attached to the building, there's a place that serves great bacon. Aubrey wants to know, when do you take people out for bacon?
At 9 o'clock in the morning, man. You get as much bacon as you want.
Ooh.
Aubrey, does this seem like it's a good fit, the franchise deal at this point? They're going to pay for the tickets. You do a meet and greet. You learn the technology, and they're paying for the bacon. Is that like a good deal?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay, this just in. Aubrey's so
He's
far
in.
he's in. Now, at what point? When do we break for lunch, or when are we having lunch?
We don't usually break for lunch yet,
Okay.
because the next section you're going to go to is with Erin Hogan. She's our director of marketing. She's literally going to walk through every piece of marketing that we currently are doing, who our vendors are, how those relationships work, how we as a franchise build, manage, and maintain your local online presence, from your websites to Google to Facebook to Yelp to, all the 65 plus really important directories. So she's going to walk you through every single piece of what we do for you, the vendors that we work with, what you need to do as a franchisee. We'll also get into a competitive analysis portion of that, where we're looking at your unique territory, who are the competitors, what we need to do. So we're basically breaking out the entire marketing program and what it's capable of and who we actually work with. That takes about another 2 hours.
2 hours. So what time
then
is
we break for lunch.
Then you break for lunch. So 2 hours, we learn about the marketing with Erin Hogan. We break for lunch, and then what do we do next?
So we break for lunch. We start talking about that because there's a lot of questions that still, this is a very open format. They're going to ask questions, but we're going to take them to lunch. It's usually me and Jonathan and Chris, our vice president, and we're just talking to them, right? Seeing how they feel, making sure that they can ask us other questions, because unique to us, I feel, is that a lot of our managers are franchisees. So we are discussing how we do things and the variety of ways in which we run our businesses. So we also are just building a relationship with these people in that time. Okay.
Now,
when we get back to the office,
Yeah.
the next section, they're actually going to meet with Jonathan, our founder, and he's going to go over OXI Fresh, the current state of OXI Fresh, the things that we're working on, why we've become the company that we are, and the importance of online marketing, and what our trends that we're seeing are going to happen in the next few years. So that takes about another 2 hours where you're just spending time with the founder, getting to know him, getting to see his passion, which very much is marketing and automation. And you're going to basically, that whole day is just all office.
Now, I have audio of Andrew. You know how I like to have audio clips of any guest, really.
Yeah.
And I have audio
Gotta be ready.
of Jonathan Barnett interacting with Luke and his wife. How would you describe Luke, just so listeners know what they're about ready to see here? Because this is, I mean,
yeah.
how would you describe Luke? Because Luke works on our team. He flew to Denver to meet with Matt and the team. How would you describe Luke's personality, just to emotionally prep the listeners?
Luke's great. He's a great guy. Like you said, he's emotionally stable. He's smart. He's very, calm all the time. He's got, a good, friendly personality, you want to be around him kind of guy.
So I'm going to cue up the audio here, and let me see if this is him. Let me cue it up here. This is John Barnett. He's arriving He's kind of like he's arriving in his vehicle to visit the OXI Fresh world headquarters here.
Yeah, looks like a boat almost.
He's arriving. It's a nice Cadillac.
Yep,
And
caddy.
he's getting there. He pulls up in the Cadillac.
It's gray.
Notice as he starts to come to he starts to slow down. It appears as though his spinners keep rolling.
Yep, they're going.
And then I'm not sure if it's Chris that hits the warning signals or if that's you, Matt, that sounds the alarm, but
Inform the commander that Lord Vader's shuttle has
he goes by the name Lord Vader up there at
Sometimes,
OXI Fresh. Yeah. So here he is. He's getting out of his appears to be a Cadillac.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a lowrider though.
Yep, the spinners.
Okay, the spinners are still spinning.
Still going.
Unbelievable momentum. Now he's lowering it right now. He was still up a little bit. The hydraulics are coming down. He's lowering. He's coming out now. Quite a buildup.
He's got the fog machine attached
Yeah, the
to
fog
the caddy.
machine. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Matt,
yeah,
hit the fog.
Hit
Hit
the
the
fog.
fog, Matt. Hit the fog. So Matt's hitting the fog.
Vader, this is an unexpected pleasure. We're honored by your presence.
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Commander.
Kind of harsh to a new
deep
potential
voice.
franchisee.
I'm here
Yeah.
to put you back on schedule.
Put you back on schedule. I haven't even
Luke.
bought a franchise yet.
I assure you, Lord Vader, my men are working as fast as...
I wonder when he's going to stop this whole Lord Vader thing.
Perhaps I can find new ways.
He's
to
been going
move
strong
it.
for about 14 years of that.
No, but I mean, I think people don't know what the interaction's going to be like. You know, is it kind of lighthearted? Is it intense? I mean, how much smoke and fog? How many
It's very
Imperial ships?
lighthearted. I mean, we can't even come to grips with the way that you guys introduce your individuals when they come to your conference. So we didn't even try to compete. We try to just feed them a lot of bacon,
Yeah,
make them feel happy.
and now again, Luke came back. He was in our meeting on Monday.
Yeah, he was.
And I asked him. I said, "How was the meeting?" And he loved it. He loved it. So I'm trying to figure out what he loves about this thing. So maybe he loved the fact that they were willing to invest in flying him to Denver. Maybe he loved the meet and greet. Maybe he loved learning about the technology and the scheduling center. Maybe he loved the transparency as Aaron walked him through the marketing. Maybe he just loved the lunch. Maybe he loved the lunch with JB,
Yeah.
John Barnett, the founder of OXI Fresh. And maybe he loved his time with Chris and Tolik. Maybe he loved his time with Matt Klein. That's probably what it is.
Probably.
Now, step 6, he meets with Barnett. He has the lunch thing. What happens next? What happens next, Matt?
Yep. So after that, we're pretty much towards the end of the day where we're going to do a wrap up, just make sure he feels comfortable. At that point, if there was any type of questions regarding maps, we have a really big screen in our office where we can actually go through and look individually on each zip code. Luckily for us, we're pretty set with him. But yeah, that would be a time we can go over some of that, because the next day when we show up, anywhere between 7 and 9 a.m., depending on what our first jobs are, he's going to be going in the field with Cameron Welch, who actually runs the franchise. We have a fully functioning franchise connected to our home office here, where we do a lot of R&D, but it's full. They have their own employees. He's going to be going out in the field, doing live jobs, seeing the customer interaction, seeing how we mix product, seeing how we actually apply the product, how we actually clean the carpets, how we get paid from them, how we do a walkthrough pre and post. They're going through the entire process of a day in the life of a technician or a franchisee that does the jobs. Okay, so that's the full 2-day discovery, one office, one field. Okay, and at the end of that end of that day, by the way, is when they'll meet with Chris, our vice president.
Got it.
And they'll go over the finalizing the FDD. Any other questions they might have, we'll explain it in super detail. We'll go through the whole thing, the whole 215 pages. And then at that point, if they decide to move forward, they can do that. If they want to take some more time, they can do that. But that's basically our 2-day discovery. It's important to know, too, you have the option of doing a 2-day where you just go back home with no expectations.
Yeah.
But then there's another form where you can do a full 4 or 5 day. The first 2 days are exactly the same. It's just you'd become a franchise after that and do 3 more days of actual field training, but you'd be a full-fledged franchise at that point.
I have audio. This was really inappropriate, but the hotel room that Luke stayed in, I said, Luke, do you mind if I put a mic in the hotel room? And he says, he acted like he didn't hear me.
Right.
And it turns out he wasn't in the room. So I went ahead and put it in there. And I've got audio of Luke. It appears to be explaining his experience about OXI Fresh with his wife, who appears to be asleep I'm going to cue up the audio. I worry about the audio. You know, sometimes you worry. Sometimes you feel bad about the espionage that you're doing.
Yeah.
And other times you say, no, this is part of. This is how Watergate happened. This is how a good conspiracy happens. So let me cue up the audio. I'm going to cue it up real quick. Here we go.
Marie, are you awake?
Her nickname is Marie. He calls her that. It's Mandy, but it's like a nickname or
Mandy Marie.
Yeah, Mandy Marie.
Marie, are you awake? Good. You look so beautiful and peaceful. You almost look dead.
Where's this going?
Dark place.
And I'm glad because there's something I want to say that's always been very difficult for me to say. I slit the sheet I slit, and on the slitted sheet I sit. I've never been relaxed enough around anyone to be able to say that.
Oh, wow.
You give me confidence in myself.
Pretty sure this is the right
I know
tape.
we've only known
so.
each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
It's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
First day seemed like a week.
You loved his
And the
discovery.
second day
Really love that.
seemed like 5 days. And the third day seemed like a week again. And the fourth day seemed like 8 days. But the fifth day, you went to see your mother, and that seemed just like a day. But then you came back, and then later, on the sixth day in the evening when we saw each other, that started seeming like 2 days. So in the evening it seemed like 2 days spilling over into the next day, and that started seeming like 4 days. So at the end of the sixth day, on into the seventh day, it seemed like a total of 5 days.
Had a really good
And
time.
the sixth day
What is this?
seemed like
Sounds a lot like
week and a half.
Steve Martin.
What in the world?
I have it written down, but I can show it to you tomorrow. Anyway,
What
decided
in the world?
tomorrow, when the time is right, I'm going to ask you to marry me.
They're already married. That's how good it
It's-
was. That's
it is.
how good it was.
Marry his wife
It
twice.
renewed his
That's the
marriage.
scariest person I've ever heard in my life.
So that's what an Oxy-Fresh Discovery Day will do to you.
It's true.
Now I have one more. I have one more
Makes
clip.
2 days feel like 6 days.
I
And
have
on the
one
seventh day,
I have
it
one
makes it-
more clip, okay? Because I want the listeners. I don't want the listeners out there to get tricked into buying an Oxy-Fresh. I mean, think about it. First, you have to talk to Matt, and if Matt, has a great tricky first conversation, you may find yourself wanting an Oxy-Fresh. Then he has to send you a franchise disclosure document, which is a massive document regulated by the federal government that includes 23 specific pieces of information. It's all regulated, and it's going to seem as though Matt's trying to not sell you. It's almost like he's trying to find out if you're a good fit, and it's weird because you've never been not sold before, so you feel like he's selling you. And then you go out there; they're willing to pay for your airfare to get you out there. The hotel, the whole thing's feeling too good. And then Andrew, this is where it gets weird. And I got audio here, and I want you, Andrew, to please vouch that this audio might or might not be the right file.
Okay. I mean, it's titled "The Right File" is what the file name is.
Okay, I'm gonna
So,
cue. I'm
I
gonna code
think-
over.
I think
now
this
this
is
is what right before. Do you have a lot of mountains in Lakewood? Is it hilly there over there by the Wells Fargo building, Matt? Are there hills nearby?
We're right on the foothills. We can see right into the mountains.
You can see Red Rock, the concert, the outdoor amphitheater, the natural amphitheater from JB's house. It's hilly. It's in Denver. There's mountains there. So the final thing they make you do, I've heard, and this is what this is. I mean, I'm hearing this fourth hand. I know a guy who knows a guy
Who knew Luke.
who knew a guy who knew a friend who knew Luke.
Oh yeah.
And he said this is what they do at OxyFresh. This is the final thing. You think you
This
want
is
to
the
join
right
the
file.
team? This is the final step. So apparently Matt will grab you, and he will gather you. You're gonna be laying on your back on a skateboard. And this is audio of potentially Luke here.
Yeah.
And Matt will say, "Do you want to buy an OxyFresh?" And he says, "I do."
He looks deep in your eyes.
And he says, "Okay, you've already met with Chris. You've signed the paperwork. But if you're going to join the team, before I can take payment, you must go down almost a mountain. Are there mountains near you, Matt? What are they steep hills?"
Yeah, we have real mountains right next to us.
Okay, so Matt says, "I want you to lay down on your back on a skateboard, and I want you to skate down this massive hill on the OxyFresh skateboard. And this is audio of Luke going down the skateboard. They call this the Hill of Trust.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this leads to it's almost like, there's hazings, there's in fraternities.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
the ways that you pledge your new members. Let me cue up audio, and Matt, you can refute this if you want. It's just 2 minutes of pure audio gold, and I believe the listeners deserve this. That level of intro. It's the truthiness.
It's the truthiness.
It could be true.
Could be.
Here we go. Let me cue it up here. Here we go. All right. This is Luke talking.
Let's run it.
Luke says, "Let's run it." He's on his back.
Confidence.
When you're buying a franchise, there is a risk.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate risk.
Yep.
Matt just wants to know: is this going to be a good fit? Here we go.
My safe word will be whiskey.
They do a safe word. That way, if you want to stop, Matt, the momentum. When you're going down a hill on a skateboard, en route to buying an OxyFresh, the momentum can be big. So you have to establish a safe word.
Yep.
Here we go.
Sorry, Rod. What was that?
That right there is Chris Antolik responding to Luke here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sometimes it goes by Rob.
Whiskey.
So you mean whiskey?
What?
You're saying it weird.
Saying what weird?
All of it.
Where do you get off?
I just don't get what you're saying.
Luke's a little frustrated here with Chris. He's like, I've already said my safe word is whiskey, and Chris is like, it's just you're saying it weird. And so here we go.
Why I'm saying what way?
Forget it.
I will forget it. Denise, would you kindly clear the wheels?
Denise works with Matt, close assistant. Here we go. Cue it up. They're pulling out.
Here we go.
Here we go.
On 3, 1, 2. Whiskey! Whiskey!
He's yelling whiskey! He's yelling whiskey! I need Matt. Why does that have to happen before you can buy an OxyFresh? Why do you do
We're
that?
just trying to test your fortitude. That's all.
Oh, okay. No, but in all seriousness, I don't believe that was the correct audio file. This just in. Sorry about that.
It's disappointing.
And now if somebody goes to thrivetimeshow.com right now, thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh, that's thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh, you can see if there's a territory available for you. And why Matt chose Fort Gibson, Arkansas, but why couldn't he have Dallas, Texas, Matt? Why couldn't he have other cities? Are you running out of cities to sell there at OxyFresh?
We are, yeah. We have about 415 territories operating at the moment. So part of that initial process is figuring out where you want to be and how, of the available territories, what works. And sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it works great. So we just want to discuss that open format. I got a mapping software. We can go into every little thing about it and pick the right territory for you.
Matt, you're a great American. I encourage everybody out there to get a chance to know you. I encourage every listener to reach out to Matt Klein, to Andy, to Mike, the entire team there at OxyFresh. Just great people. Learn more about joining the OxyFresh team today by going to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. You too could get flown to Denver. You too could meet the OxyFresh team. You too could learn so much. You're going to learn a lot of things there. You too could be educated about the world of franchising. I mean, even if you decide not to buy an OxyFresh, maybe you'll learn what it is to buy a franchise. Maybe you'll learn that a different franchise is right for you. Maybe you'll learn that an OxyFresh is exactly what you've been looking for. Maybe you can meet JB with all the smoke machines and that whole laser show that sounds a lot like a Darth Vader scene from a movie. And maybe you could go down the Hill of Trust, with your back, with laying down on a skateboard, to prove your allegiance to the OxyFresh brand. All that can happen to you by simply going to thrivetimeshow.com/OxyFresh. Matt, you are just sounding like you're smelling terrific.
I'm feeling like I'm smelling pretty good today.
I tell you what,
showered this morning.
You did. I tell you what, I knew that. That's one thing I know about Matty Klein. Daily hygiene is a thing he believes in.
Daily.
Matt, I appreciate you, my friend. I hope you have a great rest of your wonderful smelling day.
Thank you, guys. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Take care. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. I have successfully gained our second largest commercial client, and this was during COVID. So again, I started working with Luke and Clay in February, and then COVID hit in was mid-March or so. So for the entire month of April, we were shut down residential, April and May, I believe. And so despite that, and again, being a new business and all this stuff, I mean, we came out of COVID like stronger than ever, and now hitting our highest numbers in the history of the company. It just leads just piling in, and the beauty is when people call us, they're already sold because of our Google reviews, our online presence, the no-brainer offer that we now give to our clients, which is, you know, if they book their second appointment within a month of the first, they get 50% off. And again, they're just ready to book. I hardly have to do any work, it feels like sometimes, to actually book people. So that's amazing. Every week I meet with Luke, and it's awesome. Obviously, I'm in Wisconsin, he's in Oklahoma, but we have a great time. I know I can text him at any time, call him at any time with any issues I'm having, especially when COVID did hit. They were so helpful in helping me get the PPP grants and everything settled away there, and really pushed me to make sure I was on the ball and getting all of the grants that I was possibly able to, which was amazing. So they've just been such a wealth of information, and when I'm freaking out because, you know, a burning fire is happening, Luke's there to calm me down and, you know, back me off the cliff edge. And it's just awesome to have him, you know, as a resource there. So every week we meet and we have a big tracking sheet. So we track all my leads, we track my numbers, where the leads are coming from, any complaints. I love my tracking sheet. I know it's probably a little extra, but I love it because I can see everything that's actually happening in my business. And this is so important because it's not like I'm just saying, well, I feel like it's busier. I know if it's busier, and I know, are we making a profit every week? Why or why not? It's just amazing. And then I'm tracking my Google reviews, tracking my competitors' Google reviews, and Luke is always pushing me to get more reviews, even though, you know, I was not very comfortable with that at first. It felt just pushy, but now I'm seeing the effects of having a lot of Google reviews. You know, a lot to me at least. It's not very high compared to others, but people are finding us on Google and they're already ready to book because of our reviews. So, you know, going for those reviews has been so integral in having basically easy sell leads. So tracking has been just so vital, and I really enjoy it actually. So anybody who is skeptical about working with Clay or Luke, you know, the whole team at Thrivetime, I was definitely skeptical, and to me, again, new business, it seemed like a lot of money, but in comparison to other business coaches, especially like specific to the cleaning industry like I'm in, I mean, you're talking like $10,000 a month. And honestly, I feel like I get like that much value out of Luke just by meeting with him once a week. It's amazing. And it has just transformed my business in every single aspect. I mean, I always, aspired to be a successful business owner. And now, I mean, it's not even a question that this business is going to be successful, even if a pandemic happens and you have to shut down. I mean, if I can make it through that and directly because of them, it is absolutely because of them. Obviously, I'm a hard worker, blah, 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 all that. And, I was made to be an entrepreneur. However, having them as like the guiding light of this is what you need to do, and it's very straightforward, doesn't mean it's easy, but it is very straightforward of what needs to be done. And I like that. I like having that step-by-step process, and I love having the accountability, because there's a lot of stuff that they have me do that I don't want to do. It's not fun, but it works. And that, having that discipline to just do the things week after week, regardless if it's dull or boring or you don't want to do it, Luke really pushes me to do those things, which I love. I mean, I hate it at the time, but I love it because I can see how it's affecting my business in a positive way. And, I don't want to be just good. I want to be the best. And I see them as an integral part of that. And I will not be the best if I don't have them with me. So I love having them on my team, and it just feels like the best decision I ever made in my business. And I know I'm still really small and things like that, but there's a reason I reached out to them when I was small, because I want to be big and I want to not grow and then collapse because I grew too quickly without the correct systems in place. So it's been amazing, and I would suggest anybody who's willing to put in the work and do things that make you uncomfortable, reach out to them. But if you are not willing to change the way you are doing things, if you're not willing to implement a no-brainer, if you're not willing to ask for Google reviews, if you're not willing to write content, really, really boring content for your website so the Google bots find you, then don't reach out. You need to be willing to put in the work as well. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. People, when they look at my business, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, things just happen for me. And, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, perseverance and, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.